He had seen every kind of performance imaginable, but when this woman walked onto the stage carrying everyone else's pain in her body and transforming it into healing through movement, Simon Cowell realized he was about to witness something that would redefine what it means to feel everything and heal everyone. The America's Got Talent Theater buzzed with anticipation, but tonight the energy felt different. Heavier, more emotionally charged, as if the collective weight of human suffering and hope had gathered in this space. Her name was Luna Martinez, 29 years old, walking toward center stage with movements that seemed to carry invisible burdens, her steps careful and deliberate, as if each footfall sent ripples of sensation through her nervous system. Luna possessed mirror touch synesthesia, a rare neurological condition affecting less than 2% of the population. When she observed someone else experiencing physical touch, pain, or emotional distress, her brain automatically generated the same sensations in her own body. She didn't just watch other people's experiences, she lived them, felt them, carried them within her nervous system as if their pain had become her own. Most people with mirror touch synesthesia found the condition overwhelming, but Luna had discovered something extraordinary. She could transform the pain she absorbed from others into healing energy through movement, creating dance performances that seemed to literally extract suffering from audiences and transmute it into something beautiful and therapeutic. Luna wore flowing white fabric, but her bearing suggested this performance would transcend typical entertainment to become something closer to healing ceremony, therapeutic intervention, and spiritual practice combined. Luna's journey had begun in childhood, when her parents noticed she would cry whenever other children were hurt, not from sympathy, but because she physically felt their pain. When her younger brother broke his arm, Luna had screamed and clutched her own arm with identical intensity. Luna doesn't just feel bad for people who are hurting, her mother had explained to Dr. Sarah Chen, the neurologist who diagnosed Luna's condition. She actually feels their pain. When someone gets a shot, Luna winces and rubs the same spot on her own arm. The challenge of living with such intense empathy had been overwhelming during Luna's teenage years. Crowded spaces became torture chambers, where she absorbed dozens of people's physical discomforts, emotional states, and psychological tensions simultaneously. "I thought I was going crazy," Luna had told Dr. Martinez, the therapist who helped her understand her condition. "I couldn't understand why I was always in pain, always exhausted, always feeling emotions that didn't seem to belong to me." But during college, while studying dance therapy, Luna discovered that movement could help her process and transform the emotional and physical sensations she absorbed from others. When she danced, the pain she carried seemed to flow out of her body, transmuted through choreography into something beautiful. Luna had begun experimenting with empathic choreography, dance performances specifically designed to absorb, process, and transform collective emotional and physical pain. Before each performance, she would sense the audience's collective energy, identifying areas of suffering that needed attention. During the dance, Luna would deliberately absorb these sensations using her mirror touch synesthesia, then transform those sensations through movement into something healing. Her choreography seemed to literally extract suffering from observers and transmute it into cathartic release and emotional healing. Luna's performances aren't just artistic expression, observed Dr. James Wong, studying therapeutic applications of movement and empathy. She's demonstrating energy healing that uses her neurological difference to serve collective therapeutic purposes. Luna's first public performances had been at hospitals, where she worked with patients dealing with chronic pain, terminal illnesses, and trauma. Her ability to literally feel their suffering and transform it through dance provided comfort that traditional medical approaches couldn't offer. But Luna's most remarkable discovery was that her empathic abilities worked with groups, allowing her to sense and respond to collective emotional and physical needs of entire audiences. She could identify shared traumas, community pain, and widespread emotional patterns, then create performances that addressed these collective wounds. Standing now, backstage at AGT, Luna felt the familiar sensation of absorbing emotional energy from hundreds of people. Anxiety from performers, excitement from audience members, stress from production staff, and the complex mixture of anticipation and hope. She walked onto the stage carrying the accumulated suffering of everyone present and the hope that her neurological difference could transform pain into beauty, individual agony into shared healing. The audience's reaction was immediate curiosity mixed with recognition that something different was happening. Luna's presence seemed to shift the energy in the theater, creating an atmosphere that felt more like a healing space. "Hello," Simon said. "What's your name and what brings you to our stage tonight?" "My name is Luna Martinez," she began. "I'm here to demonstrate something about empathy, healing, and the ways that feeling everyone's pain can become a source of collective comfort and transformation. I have mirror-touch synesthesia, which means when I observe someone else experiencing physical or emotional pain, I automatically feel identical sensations in my own body. Instead of just watching suffering, I live it, carry it, experience it as if it were my own." Simon felt something shift in the theater's atmosphere. This wasn't going to be typical entertainment. "That sounds incredibly overwhelming," one judge observed. "How do you manage to function with that level of empathy?" Luna smiled with understanding. "For years, I thought my condition was a curse. I couldn't be in crowds without being overwhelmed by everyone's pain. But I discovered that through dance, I could absorb others' suffering and transform it into something healing." "You're saying you can actually heal people through dance?" Simon asked skeptically. "When someone feels truly seen and understood in their suffering, when their pain is acknowledged and transformed rather than ignored, genuine healing can occur," Luna replied. "My neurological difference allows me to literally feel what others are experiencing, then use movement to transmute those sensations into something beautiful and therapeutic." Luna gestured toward the audience. "Right now, I can feel the collective energy of everyone in this theater. There's excitement, but also anxiety, stress, physical discomfort, emotional tension, and the general weight that comes from carrying life's everyday burdens. Tonight, I want to create a healing dance that absorbs some of that collective suffering and transforms it into something that provides comfort, release, and renewal." Luna moved to center stage and stood quietly, eyes closed as she deliberately opened herself to absorbing the emotional and physical energy of hundreds of people watching. Her body seemed to respond to invisible sensations, subtle shifts indicating she was experiencing the collective pain and tension. As she began to move, Luna's choreography seemed to emerge directly from the sensations she was absorbing. Her movements were initially heavy, weighted, expressing the burden of carrying multiple people's suffering. But as the dance progressed, her choreography transformed, becoming lighter, more fluid, as if the pain was being processed and transmuted into beauty. The effect on the audience was immediate and profound. As Luna danced, people throughout the theater began experiencing unexpected emotional and physical relief. Tension they hadn't realized they were carrying seemed to lift. Emotional stress that had been constant background noise began to quiet. Simon found himself experiencing something he couldn't explain, a sense of being seen, understood, and cared for that went beyond anything he had felt in years. Stress and emotional armor he had been carrying for decades was somehow being addressed and gently released. Throughout the theater, similar experiences were occurring. Audience members were crying quietly, not from sadness but from relief, as emotional burdens were somehow acknowledged and transformed. Others experienced physical relief from chronic pain and tension that seemed to diminish as Luna danced. "What you're witnessing," Luna said as she continued moving, "is what happens when suffering is truly seen, acknowledged, and transformed through empathic connection. I'm absorbing your pain and processing it through movement, returning it to you as healing energy." As Luna's performance continued, her movements became increasingly transcendent, expressing not just transformation of individual pain, but creation of collective healing energy. Her dance had become group therapy, spiritual ceremony, and artistic expression, combined into genuine healing experience. When Luna gradually brought her performance to a close, the theater remained in profound silence as audience members processed what they had experienced. Many were visibly emotional, but the tears were of relief and gratitude rather than sadness. Then applause began. Not usual entertainment appreciation, but profound gratitude that follows genuine therapeutic experience. Simon stood up, understanding Luna had demonstrated something far more valuable than performance art. She had proven that extreme empathy could serve healing purposes, that neurological differences could become sources of service. "Luna," Simon said, walking onto the stage, "what you've just done challenges everything I thought I knew about performance, empathy, and the relationship between individual suffering and collective healing. You didn't just dance," Simon continued. You literally absorbed our pain and transformed it into something beautiful. You've proven that extreme sensitivity can become a gift that serves entire communities." As the golden buzzer activated, Simon said, "Luna, you've shown us that the people who feel the most deeply are often the ones who can heal most powerfully." 6 months later, Luna established the Empathic Healing Institute, training healthcare professionals to incorporate movement-based empathy work into practice. Her techniques proved particularly effective for treating trauma, chronic pain, and emotional distress. Luna's work attracted attention from both medical and dance communities. Hospitals began incorporating empathic movement sessions into pain management programs, while dance schools explored how extreme sensitivity could be channeled for therapeutic purposes. Years later, Luna's approach influenced everything from hospital design to educational curricula, as principles of empathic healing found applications across multiple fields. The mirror soul who felt everyone's pain had demonstrated that extreme empathy could become a superpower for healing when guided by compassion, skill, and willingness to transform individual suffering into collective comfort. The AGT episode featuring Luna became a turning point in how society viewed neurological differences and empathic abilities. Medical schools began incorporating her work into curricula, teaching future doctors that extreme sensitivity could serve therapeutic purposes rather than just being a condition to manage. Luna changed how we understand empathy in medical practice, explained Dr. Chen during a conference on innovative therapeutic approaches. She proved that some people's neurological differences can become powerful tools for healing when properly developed and channeled. The Empathic Healing Institute expanded internationally, with centers in 23 countries. Luna trained thousands of healthcare workers, therapists, and individuals seeking to understand how extreme sensitivity could be transformed into service. Her techniques were adapted to different cultural contexts while maintaining core principles of empathic transformation. Maria Santos, a nurse who had always been overwhelmed by patients' suffering, became one of Luna's first students. Through Luna's training, Maria learned to use her natural empathy as a therapeutic tool rather than experiencing it as emotional burden. "Luna didn't just teach me techniques," Maria explained during a hospital conference. "She showed me that feeling patients' pain deeply could become my greatest strength as a healer if I learned how to process and transform those sensations." The Institute's children's program proved especially powerful. Young people with mirror-touch synesthesia learned to view their condition not as overwhelming sensitivity, but as potential for extraordinary service to others. "These children aren't just managing a neurological difference," observed child psychologist Dr. Robert Kim. "They're embracing a calling to heal." Luna has given them a framework for understanding their empathy as a superpower. Luna's influence extended beyond healthcare into fields like education, where teachers learn to recognize and support highly sensitive students, and social work, where empathic techniques were integrated into trauma response protocols. 3 years after AGT, Luna was invited to speak at the United Nations about empathy as a tool for conflict resolution. Her presentation, "Feeling Together: Empathy as Global Healing," became a foundational text for peace-building organizations worldwide. Luna represents humanity's capacity for collective healing. Noted peace researcher Dr. Patricia Williams, she's proven that individual sensitivity can become a resource for addressing community trauma on any scale. Luna's work attracted attention from neuroscientists studying mirror neurons and the biological basis of empathy. Her case became central to research showing that extreme empathy wasn't just psychological, but had measurable neurological correlates that could be studied and potentially enhanced. Luna's brain scans show extraordinary mirror neuron activity, explained neuroscientist Dr. Michael Chen. She's helping us understand how empathy works at the cellular level and how these abilities might be developed in others. 5 years after her AGT appearance, Luna published The Empathic Body, a best-selling book that became essential reading for anyone working in healing professions. The book taught readers how to recognize empathic overload, develop boundaries without losing sensitivity, and channel empathic abilities for therapeutic purposes. Luna's most groundbreaking innovation involved developing empathic resonance chambers, specially designed spaces that amplified collective healing energy during group sessions. These environments, incorporating specific acoustics, lighting, and spatial arrangements, enhanced the therapeutic effects of empathic dance. Luna is creating healing environments that work with natural human empathy rather than against it, observed environmental psychologist Dr. Lisa Rodriguez. Her spaces are designed to support collective emotional processing in ways that traditional therapy rooms cannot achieve. Luna's most ambitious project involved working with refugee populations and communities affected by mass trauma. Using portable versions of her empathic techniques, she provided immediate psychological support in areas lacking traditional mental health resources. Empathy is a universal language, Luna explained during a humanitarian mission in Syria. When people feel genuinely understood in their suffering, healing can begin even without shared vocabulary or cultural background. Years later, Luna reflected on her journey from overwhelming sensitivity to purposeful service. "I thought my condition was a burden because I felt everyone else's pain," she said during a university commencement address. "But I learned that the people who feel the most deeply are often the ones who can heal most powerfully when they learn to transform sensitivity into service." The Institute continued evolving, incorporating new research on neuroplasticity, trauma recovery, and collective healing. Luna's approach influenced everything from hospital design to urban planning, as communities began considering how physical environments could support empathic connection and healing. Luna's most profound discovery was that empathic healing worked not just for individuals, but for entire social systems. Communities that incorporated her techniques showed reduced rates of violence, increased cooperation, and greater resilience during crises. Luna proved that empathy isn't just a personal trait but a community resource, Dr. Wong observed. When properly cultivated, extreme sensitivity can become a foundation for social healing and collective resilience. The woman who felt everyone's pain had shown the world that overwhelming sensitivity, rather than being a neurological burden, could become the foundation for revolutionary approaches to healing that transcended individual therapy to create community transformation, proving that sometimes those who feel the most are exactly who the world needs to heal the deepest wounds.